If the students fail the test, change the test. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, I'm Florian Heise and welcome to another episode of Heise Says. Got my second shine of coffee for the day, and I thought we would look at this article from the ABC about the NAPLAN results. We'll jump to it here. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar, the NAPLAN is a standardized test that occurs around Australia at different year levels, so you could judge different schools and see our education system. You know, it's useful because you can see just the quality that's coming out of a school. Now, of course, this data isn't used to, say, maybe fire incompetent teachers or look at serious reforms to our education system because, you know, a system that was based on a Prussian schooling method hundreds of years ago in a country that has a declining manufacturing sector is entirely perfect for the modern world, definitely. And if you haven't guessed watching my videos, I've got very little respect for the education system. I don't really think it's working all that well, particularly here in Australia, you know, the innovation nation, where government is sourcing R&D credits back from people for dodgy research and development. But nonetheless, let's have a look at this. So NAPLAN results spark further calls for overhaul of student testing system, because if the students do bad, it means you've got to change the test. I mean, come on. I mean, yeah, well, this is the natural progression of SJW wokeness, leftists, and the identitarian thinking that's coming out of our schooling system. And in, you know, a unionized workforce. Of course, you're not going to look at the people who are doing the teaching. You're going to look at the method of measuring it. Of course. I mean, come on. No wonder they're gluing themselves to the road, supporting, you know, the next savior of the planet, Greta, and all these other crazy things. Victoria is Victoria. Of course, it's bloody Victoria. I mean, sorry, I bumped that. Of course, it's Victoria's just going down the gurgler. It is just lost. It is just a lost state. So Victoria is leading a push for an overhaul of the NAPLAN school testing system, proposing a job certificate to help engage students and a change to the ages of test takers to combat flagging results in high schools. National preliminary figures for the 2019 tests show while primary school students had small lifts in average scores in some areas, results were stagnant for most categories. Nationally, Year 7 and 9 students slid backwards on the baseline score in writing, and Year 9 students' scores were flat across the board. Go education! The results released this morning, which was a couple of days ago, are further ammunition for critics of the assessment scheme, with 3 states, including Victoria, already leading a review into the test. How is this ammunition for critics of the testing scheme? How? Because there's other data that shows our education system is lagging behind on a international level. How is this ammunition? Can someone explain to me in the comments, please, how this is actual ammunition for those that are critics of the test? Students are doing bad, so there's something wrong with the test. I mean, this just seems insane. It really does. I mean, come on, guys. Seriously, no one can. This is a joke piece, and this is The Onion. I'm not reading ABC News. Oh, well, I am reading ABC News. Of course, ABC will be in bed with this. Federal Education Minister Dan Tehan conceded that there was further work to do in bringing up literacy and numeracy scores. Scores in the test, or just in general? It shouldn't be literacy and numeracy scores, it should be literacy and numeracy rates. Victorian Education Minister James Merlino said Year 9 was the most difficult cohort to engage in their education. If they don't see the relevance in the test, they're not going to take it seriously, he said. Well, maybe give the students a bonus or something for the test. Maybe they can get a prize, I don't know. Maybe money. Money, there you go. The student who gets the highest in each class gets $100. What do you think? In a bid to boost engagement, he has proposed linking the test to a literacy and numeracy certificate for Year 9 students to show would-be employers. I guess, yeah. I mean, would you be interested in that in Year 9 results? we need our Year 9 students to think, okay, this test means something. I'm going to give it my best shot, and I'm going to give it my best shot because I'm going to get a certificate that's going to go into my careers portfolio, who said. I can understand how Year 9 students wouldn't care about it. I can understand. Yeah. Really? So are you going to incentivize the students to work harder, or are you going to just... Because are they trying to teach to the test? Are they trying to teach to the test? Or should it be just an accurate measure and reflection of the literacy and numeracy of the student? Even if they're being lazy asses, if they're lazy every single year, that'll just, it should even out. It should even out. Surely they'd work a bit harder on something more important, but this will still show you where the level of our education system is if they're all being lazy bums. A newly established advisory committee of principals from government, independent and Catholic schools will begin assessing the proposal. Maybe you just need to look at your teaching methodology. I mean, look at this picture here. That doesn't look like a very engaged education classroom. Is that a computer lab, a study lab? What is it? Or is this them doing the test? States urged to review ages of NAPLAN students, so they want to change the test. The National Assessment Program, Literacy and Numeracy, better known as NAPLAN, is standardized test taken by students in years 3, 5, 7 and 9 across the country. The tests have proved controversial, particularly their move from pen and paper to online, which has seen widespread computer glitches affecting students and concerns over the legitimacy of the results. The three largest states, New South Wales, Queensland and Victoria, are running a review of the system, which has been operating in its current form for more than a decade. Mr. Merlin said he had asked the review to consider changing the target students to those in years 4, 6, 8 and 10. It makes common sense to me, he said. Any recommendations made by the state's review would need to be accepted by the Australian Curriculum Assessment and Reporting Authority. Let's not blame the test, Tehan urges. Mr. Tehan said he wanted to work with states and territories to make sure they kept their eye on the ball to improve secondary school results. Well, yeah, that seems like it. His opposition counterpart, Tanya Plibersek, said the government had shown a complete failure to address the problems in our schools. Of course, the federal government has a responsibility here, she said. Does it? Does the federal government have any responsibility here? Education is a state-level thing. What the hell does the federal government have to do with it? At least they're finally now trying to get a national curriculum. What does this federal government... I mean, this is Plibersek. She believes in the wage gap. She believes in other fantasy things like that. So, I mean, come on. If a senior person in the Labour Party, a leader in the Labour Party, can't even understand that the wage gap isn't real, can't even understand statistics, business, and just how the market works, and the fact that we already have laws in place, why can she verbalize and be taken serious on this statement? Someone explain to me, please. Please explain. Computer says no. The Australian Education Union seized on the results to renew its criticism of online NAPLAN tests, which it said has plagued with issues that fundamentally undermine the credibility of the data. Despite whatever story ACARA tries to spin, this data is so seriously compromised it should not be relied upon by education departments, schools, parents and the broader community, AEU Acting Federal President Meredith Peace said. I don't know. I'm not going to trust the union in the slightest with regards to this, because I've got some other data that we're going to look at that shows you Australia's numeracy and literacy is very low on an international level. Who would I trust? Teachers and principals cannot trust NAPLAN or the results it has produced. I don't know. I've spoken to the principal of my daughter's school and I've interviewed him, and I will put a link to that interview here. I'm just writing down again the time, 10 minutes or 9:25. 9:25. And in that interview, he was setting up a physical school to complement his distance school to support students who were just left behind in the system, who just fall through the cracks. And numeracy and literacy are the most important thing in your education. Most important thing. Mr. Tehan defended the system and said Australians would not know about problem areas without them. let's not blame the tests. Let's make sure that we understand what the results are and where we need to put the work in, he said. ACRA CEO David Caravello said the results were reviewed by an independent measurement advisory experts before their release, and results should be interpreted with care. Despite the flagging results for Year 9 students, Victoria's primary school led the country in 7 out of 10 different measures. Across the country, there was an upturn in all students' writing results compared to 2018. NAPLAN results for 2019 in writing have showed a pleasing improvement from last year, and it is a trend we would like to see continue, given the decline in recent years across all year levels, he said. Students and schools will receive their individual results next week. So let's have a look at some data from UNICEF, and this was released in 2017, so it's a bit old. We can see here Australia ranking of 39 out of 41 EU OECD countries in terms of quality education raises serious red flags for children's learning and development, which can severely impact their chances in life. A deeper dive in the data reveals that 71.7% of 15-year-olds in Australia are achieving baseline competencies in reading, mathematics and science. That was in 2015. And 80% of children are participating in organised learning 1 year before they start of compulsory schooling. We know that education is a great equaliser in society, so it follows that poor quality education results produces sharp inequality. And we jump over here, we can see where Australia is sitting on our quality of education. You've got Australia here is at 39, Australia. And at the point of the time of this data, Romania was at 40 and Turkey was at 41. What's number 2? Malta. Let's see if we can... Is New Zealand even on here? New Zealand. 15. 15. Australia, 39. So, there have been problems in our education system for a while. And we're talking about changing the test. What do you think, guys? Do you think that the test is the problem? Should we listen to the unions and change the test? You know, is it all fine? Or is the fact that with 39 out of 41 countries, New Zealand is more than twice the ranking that Australia has, that we have a problem here? I think we shouldn't blame the test. I think there's more going on. Anyway, guys, like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Take care.